Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm going to talk about what it means to have the moon in conjunction with Mars in Synastry, what it means to have your moon conjunct with someone's Mars, or their moon conjunct with your Mars in Synastry, this world famous aspect that is quite exciting, and not surprised this was requested after I did my natal Moon Mars video, because yeah, this is a really interesting one to have in Synastry. So because the moon is involved, this is quite an emotional connection actually to have, specifically for the moon person. The moon person reacts very strongly to the Mars person. Depending on the nature of their own moon, and what sign and what qualities it contains, kind of depends on like the major theme of this relationship. So specifically with conjunctions in synastry, you want to look at the sign that it's taking place in, because that sign and its qualities are going to be like a major theme of the relationship. So the moon person can see the Mars person as someone who they can trust, because the Mars person is like a more outward expression of how they emotionally feel. The moon person can feel like they trust the Mars person to lead, to kind of direct the scene, and they can really feel like, yeah, the Mars person is like an outward emulation. I don't know if that's a word. Like they emulate outwardly what they feel within. So it's a very strong aspect of attraction. So the Mars person, specifically if the Mars person is a man or the masculine pole in the relationship, they're gonna feel really like manly and powerful in this connection, because they feel that the moon person is classifying them in this way as the leader, and the director of their emotions, and that can feel really sexy to a man or a masculine partner, right? Like to feel like you're trusted in that way. Like, it's interesting. The moon and Mars are such different energies, but this one actually, it's interesting because I talked about it in the natal aspect on how the moon and Mars are essentially incompatible. Like, this is an uncomfortable conjunction to have in your natal chart, because the emotions are so fired up. But interestingly enough, in synastry, when it's between a masculine and feminine relationship, this one actually can work and be quite attractive, because it's like Mars fires up the moon's emotions, and really gets them feeling something. And if that feeling is positive, if it's love, it's the strongest love they've ever felt. And if it's hate, and with the conjunction, it's like they're very similar. It's actually less likely that they actually are going to hate each other, because there's such a strong like similarity in them. Although the Mars person is the one acting it out, the moon person feels like they've really met their match with the Mars person. And it actually, yeah, it works in a male-female relationship for a hot, steamy, passionate encounter. Now, where it can get tricky is in a non-sexual relationship, in a working relationship, or other types of relationships. the level of heat here can be quite uncomfortable because there's such a strong, like, mating impulse with this one. Like, this is classically called like a baby making aspect, because there is this sense like Mars is the masculine and Moon is the feminine, and Mars on some level literally can want to impregnate the Moon person. um Now, of course, that's not going to happen in all cases, but that is one of the manifestations. And so when you're having this in a relationship that is not sexual or not romantic or is not supposed to be sexual or romantic, that's when it can get kind of uncomfortable and harder to deal with. Although not impossible, but it's just the level of reaction and response with this aspect is so great that it's like there's a lot of energy to be directed. So, you know, it actually could work really well. Like, the Moon person is the feeler, is the person with the, you know, the emotion, and then the Mars person directs it into something. So it could actually work well in a working partnership with two very evolved people, because you have to control that, like, level of physical attraction there that there can be. But yeah, the Mars person does a really good job of, like, directing the Moon person's energy into something outward, okay? And there's also a strong element with this conjunction in Synastry around family. And like, the Mars person can help the Moon person sort out their home life, with their parenting, with their children. You know, this is kind of like a fifth house sort of energy, fourth, fifth, first house energy coming out here. And so the Mars person can really help the Moon person, yeah, in those areas. And the Moon person helps the Mars person feel more powerful and more capable in their life. So the Moon person can actually help the Mars person with their self-image, with their career, with their, like, Mars is kind of like our mojo in the world, for men, and but also for women in a way too. It is like a big expression of our power and, like, our primal, like, hunting energy. So the Moon person can really help the Mars person feel, like, capable, and, like, they can take on anything. And, like, yeah, that's, like, a part of where this attraction comes from, is, like, the Moon person just instinctively classifies the Mars person as, like, this warrior, like this hunter, and, like, it can be really sexy to be classified in that way by someone, specifically when you're the masculine portion of the equation. And, you know, we can have relationships that the woman is actually more masculine, like when her Mars is activated or her Sun is very activated. We can have you know, relationships where that's actually the woman, and that works, right? So it's not like, you know, the Mars person has to be the man. The Mars person can be the woman as long as she's comfortable in that role, right? And a lot of women are, you know, Aries women, like super fiery women, yeah, like, they're gonna love that. They're gonna love being the Mars portion of this equation, right? So, like, when I say that, you know, sometimes people get pissed off, like, oh, what if I'm gay? Like, it, like, whatever, you know, whoever is the masculine, whoever is the feminine, it doesn't matter which one is which. But, you know, with these archetypes, there is a masculine and a feminine, right? Especially with this one, because we've got Moon, feminine planet, and Mars, the most masculine planet. So anyways, yeah. So the Moon person can really help the Mars person feel like the conqueror and feel really powerful. You know, the image that I'm getting is, like, it's like, let's just say the Moon person's house is on fire, and the Mars person is the firefighter, and the Mars person runs in there and saves the moon person and her child as well, and brings them out of the burning fire. And then the moon person is like so thankful to the Mars person, and then falls in love because like he's so powerful, and he just like literally went into the fire and saved her life. Like it can be that kind of energy. That's like obviously a really extreme example in the day-to-day, you know, in a regular relationship it's not going to be like that, but that's how the moon person can feel about the Mars person, is like he's the hero, like he's the warrior, like he's like, you know, it can be very primal like that, because the moon is our deeply rooted emotions and our home life and our, you know, that's why I chose the image of like the home burning down. Like the Mars person can come in there and just literally fix up the moon person and save her life or his life or whatever. So when we're dealing with these kind of primal feelings of safety and you know, these archetypes of masculine and feminine in this kind of way, where the masculine is like the hero warrior, it's really hard to be neutral in this relationship. Like to have a casual friendship with this aspect is not impossible, but it's probably hard because there's so much passion and feeling. And that's where things can get really heated. And sometimes the moon person can feel like the Mars person is insensitive, because the Mars person in this aspect is, you know, the more outward aggressor, right? And so in some cases, the moon person can actually be hurt by the Mars person. But, you know, it's that typical hurt of like, you know, woman to man, oh, you don't understand my feelings. Like you're just, you know, and like the typical way that sometimes, you know, people with too much Mars energy can be more insensitive and, you know, more just physical and outward and not, you know, inward and nurturing. And yeah, and then the Mars person can think, well, you know, you're just too emotional, or you're too attached to me. Like, I'm just like the warrior. I'm not, you know, yeah, I'm not necessarily the husband guy. But although this aspect is so powerful, it could show up in marriages for sure. It definitely does. But it's yeah, that's one of the dynamics that can be playing out here, is that moon feels Mars is insensitive. But it depends on, you know, what the sign is and, you know, what else is going on here, because also the Mars person can feel very protective towards the moon person. Like they want to make sure they're safe and they're good, and there can actually be a lot of mutual caring and support, and definitely a lot of passion and enthusiasm as far as the sign that this is taking place in will really show the nature of this relationship. Yeah, it's definitely a power couple aspect. Like it's an energetic aspect. It's not, you know, like a sitting around watching TV kind of couple. It's like a going after it, whatever it is, whatever the theme of passion is. Sometimes it will be actually the physical act of creating children, because like I said, this is like a baby making aspect where Mars, even unconsciously, just really wants to impregnate Moon. That's what the books say. So they could be immersed in that. You know, this could be the married couple that has like 10 children. I wouldn't be surprised to see this aspect in a marriage like that. But yeah, on those other levels, the Mars person really can just help the Moon person birth something into the world, right? Like the Moon takes their inner world, their internal emotions and deepest feelings, and the Mars person can help them actually birth that into something, right? Not just in children sense, like it could be something else as well. So it's a really powerful aspect to have. It definitely shows a lot of feeling, a lot of care. The moon person just feels so much for the Mars person, even if sometimes they can just be pissed off at them at the same time. And then the Mars person really feels manly and powerful and like the hero of the moon person in some cases. So it's I actually think it's more good than bad in my experience to have this aspect, although yeah, it can be really hard to be neutral because of the amount of feeling. When we have these strong aspects to moon and synastry, there's just so much emotion involved. So it's definitely not a lighthearted relationship when it's moon and Mars, but it can be very productive and very, very deep, and also very sexual. The amount of attraction cannot be overstated here, because of, like the act of sex is the masculine and the feminine polarity meeting, right? So when we have a feminine planet with a masculine planet in a conjunction, Moon Mars is slightly different than Venus Mars. Moon Mars is definitely more emotional and more concerned with the actual baby making and the home life being restructured or created even in some way. Like the home is definitely an issue here with this aspect. So yeah, I'd love to know your experience of this one. How was it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And yeah, I'm doing your requests, you guys. Let me know what you would like me to talk about on a video, and I'm doing my best to do them all. Wow, this was a long video. And I do offer one-on-one sessions. I do personal natal charts and also synastry charts as well. So you can check out my links below. Okay, thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye.